Club Hoops Basketball, the podcast that's hosted by a father-daughter duo all about women's basketball. I'm Natalie Franklin.
I'm Gregory Franklin.
Same last name should trigger that we are father and daughter.
In some places, maybe it triggers that. I don't know, but names are names.
Names are names. Names be naming.
Names be naming.
So this is a fast break episode because we went to the Oklahoma versus UCLA game last night here in Sacramento, California at Golden One Center. So we're going to talk about that. It was a very fun game. Great atmosphere.
Lovely atmosphere. Absolutely great.
I think there was a lot of alumni in the house.
On both sides, Oklahoma and UCLA.
The crowd skewed a little older. It skewed a little older. It was 55 and up. But I get it. It's Monday night. It's a school night. But if you're retired,
and heavy at 55 and up, and heavy on the upside.
Heavy on the up. Yeah. More up than not.
More up than anything. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but it was on neutral territory.
Yep.
Allegedly, but it's still California, so it was UCLA thick, UCLA proud in there.
And don't know how they got to the term neutral, but as neutral can be in Northern California for a Southern California team playing.
Yeah, and it was also interesting that they had the game in Sac. We were trying to figure out why that happened. We have nothing. We just have maybe they wanted to get out of town, not go too far, play in an NBA style arena. I don't know. They just showed up to town and played a game.
Yeah, don't know.
They gave us a ranked game in Sacramento. I'm appreciative. I consider Sacramento to be a basketball town. So it makes sense in that respect. But yeah, I appreciate it. It was nice to get out on a Monday night and see some quality basketball, some competitive basketball.
It was very nice. Some
highlights. I got hit in the head by the t-shirt, them throwing the t-shirts. Got hit in the head, which ironically, my dad got hit in the head when we went to the Aces game.
Final game of the season. I get hit in the head with a t-shirt.
And it hurt.
It did hurt.
Yeah. So
it hurt me too.
I dodged one of the shirts. And right when I told my dad, at least we didn't get hit in the head, I got hit square in my head. And I didn't get the shirt. That's what's even funnier. It went to the ladies in front of me. But let me just say this. I don't like free t-shirts at games. They're the cheapest shirts. The way people go wild over free stuff, no matter what it is, it's crazy. I used to work for the Raiders, and we would give out stuff every now and then. The cheapest, dumbest stuff. And people would be like harassing me like I'm Rihanna just because I have this free stuff. It's like a Frisbee. You play Frisbee just because it has the team logo on it and just because it's free.
And the team logo and the sponsor's logo, like Kaiser Permanente, Arco.
Golden One, right?
Golden One, yeah. So, the T-shirt and free little mini ball toss and all that, people lose their minds over that.
Yeah, I literally was not trying to get a t-shirt. That's the crazy part. And they were all coming at us. So I finally stood up for safety. Another high point in the game for us, we met, kinda.
Sorta.
I spoke to a champion, a four-time WNBA champion. I will, of course, say her name when I'm done. But she is a four-time WNBA champion, a five-time WNBA All-Star. I can name all her accolades, but it's a very long list. I will give another hint. Former teammate of the great Maya Moore. We met Lindsay Whalen last night.
Yeah.
And by met, I said sorry. So let's pay. By met, I mean kind of like bumped into. So we were sitting in the row, and I was sitting in the aisle seat, and I happened to have my foot out in the aisle because I'm just too tall for these seats. No, I'm just kidding. It's not because I'm too tall. It's just I just felt like sitting that way. And I kind of saw a body next to me, and I quickly put my leg in because I was like, oh, crap, someone needs to get by to go further down. So I looked up and I said, sorry. Now, pause. When I looked up and saw her face, it reminded me of those 90s sitcoms when the athletes used to guest star. and you would see like Kobe Bryant come in and everyone would start cheering and the character would be like, oh my God, you're Kobe Bryant. It was the same pause I had because I was like, whoa, I think this is Lindsay Whalen. So I said, oh, sorry. And she said, no, it's okay. Do you mind if I get by you guys? And I said, oh, of course. And that was our interaction.
So you met her.
So I met her. I met Lindsay Whalen. I think she was there. And Daddy, you kind of gave me this theory for recruiting or scouting, excuse me.
She was scouting. I mean, you're looking at the number 2 player in the country in women's basketball, Lauren Betts. And I think she was there looking at her. Although, we'll get into this, I think she was surprised to see other people step forward, other players step forward on that UCLA team. So. And
just a reminder, she's an assistant coach on the Minnesota Lynx. And also, I don't want to, I named all her accolades, but I do want to say she is a Hall of Famer. So she's in the Hall of Fame. So we met a Hall of Famer, low key.
Yeah.
Low key, the lowest of keys. Okay. But we met Lindsay Whalen. So, Lindsay, if you're listening, that was me who said sorry to you when you were coming in our row. So it was a pleasure. Sorry, I'm tickle myself.
Oh, yeah.
I think I am just so funny. Anywho, let's get into this game. The final score was 73 UCLA, Oklahoma 59. These were 2 ranked teams. I believe you can correct me. It's number 6, number 3 and number 6. UCLA is number 3. Oklahoma is number 6. It kind of did what everyone thought it would do. We pretty much predicted UCLA would win. Most importantly, for all you bettors out there, illegal and legal, did they hit the spread?
They covered.
They covered the spread. And I think that was your advice. You would bet the spread.
Yeah, they covered. They were a 7.5 point favorite.
Mm-hmm.
They covered.
Sweet.
They covered.
We'll get into get really into it, but what was your takeaway or what did you, of this game?
So actually, I love the pace of the game.
Yes,
and
I agree.
It was, throughout the whole game, just great pace. Mm-hmm. And my big sort of impression and takeaway was UCLA is a much bigger team. Mm-hmm. They're also fast. I don't think they were as fast as Oklahoma, but they kept up. Yeah. Oklahoma couldn't really get going from a scoring standpoint. They were ended up like 54%, from the free throw line. So they just couldn't. They struggled so much in that game, and UCLA was so big and dominant in the paint. And also, I'll be honest, UCLA represented well from the 3-point line. So all in all, for it to be, early in the season, as early as it is, I felt like the tempo was great. I felt like the play was great. I felt like the officiating, they're still trying to come along. There were a lot of calls not made. So yeah, all in all, it was a good game.
It was a good game, and your assessment of Oklahoma, I totally agree with. They shot 30% from the field goal, 25% from 3. They just couldn't keep pace with UCLA. Yep. And if you watch the game, Oklahoma didn't take bad shots. They got good looks. Nothing was dropping. Right, it just was not a good shooting night. And I don't know who the main shooter on that team is, or who is supposed to be their 3-point specialist, or who's the one that can get to the rim for them. They're going to have to figure that out as they move along the year. And like you said, it's really early. This is week 2, right? I think it's a great game for Oklahoma to assess where they're at. Yeah. And if you're Oklahoma, you're not too mad at it. You're 6 that played a 3. You kept up, kinda. It wasn't a blowout.
It was not a blowout.
It wasn't I know the score was 73-59, but if you watch this game, it was never a blowout. It was a pretty really good competition. It was competitive. I just think they need to figure out how to get the ball in the basket when need be. I agree with the UCLA of it all. They really controlled the tempo of this game. Yeah. Shot at will and made their shots. I think they're going back to Oklahoma's problem, and this is a coaching problem that hopefully she'll get together. They never adjusted. Like when UCLA started hitting threes, guard the perimeter more. Maybe go into a zone. They were too focused, and we'll get into the Lauren Betts of it all. They spent too much energy on her.
A lot of energy, doubling her, attempting to front her. And it's almost like that was their quote unquote main focus, while Kiki Rice is out there bombing away.
Yeah.
And just bombing away from the 3-point line.
And Gianna Neepkins did as well. She was great. I think at one point,
Yeah.
I can't remember if it was her or someone else on UCLA, made back-to-back threes, same spot.
Yeah. Who was it? It wasn't Nepkins. It was.
I can't remember who it was, but it doesn't really matter. The whole team was doing that all night.
Yep,
And I
yep.
think and that's why they were all open, is because there was so much attention on Betts. When, if you look at the stat sheet, you didn't need to do all that. She only had 9 points, four of 11. And it's not like they played great defense on her. She locked herself up. Like, as you said, Dad, she's not scoring. Why are you spinning? And that's how Beer got into some foul trouble, because she's trying to be aggressive, and you don't need to play her so tough. And the shots that Lauren did make is because they were overplaying her a bit. So I think hopefully they'll look at some film and realize they should have been just guarding the perimeter more, and they probably would have had a better chance in this game, because UCLA was making it felt like they're making all their 3-pointers. So that's kind of worked in their favor.
It was Dukalich that was making a significant number of threes as well. She had 16 points.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, it was her. She was bombing away.
Yeah. Obviously, UCLA dominated the boards, 59-43. I think if you have a 6'7" person on your team, you should be dominating the boards. That's not a surprising stat.
Yeah, and really, God, I think at some point the coach, UCLA's coach, she actually wanted the ball to go inside more, and it just wasn't working. It just wasn't working. Best wasn't finishing. So eventually they just abandoned that and then went to a more of a perimeter game, and then later mid-range game. So it was like I said, it was a good game though. I mean, despite the score and despite some of the shortcomings, of UCLA, and then I want to say with Oklahoma for whatever reason just couldn't get on track. The energy was there and the effort was there, but they just couldn't get on track. Beers played exceptionally hard. I felt she played real hard.
Yeah. They could just never get a rhythm. They never really, even if they did kind of go on a run, they couldn't get any defensive stops. A lot of UCLA's points came from turnovers.
Yeah.
I can't remember where I read it. I don't know why I didn't write it down, but basically UCLA had like 15 points off of their turnovers.
That's right.
So there's your game right there. If you wouldn't have made as many turnovers as you made, then game might have been closer, might have even won. But turnovers were big for them. Turnovers and just not nailing their shots.
Yeah, it was huge.
I think Aaliyah Chavez showed some promise. She's, to remind you, #1 recruit nationally from last year. 11 points. She was 4 of 16 from the field goal, 1 of 4 from 3. Yeah, she had some good open looks. She took good shots. They were not falling for her. And some would even go in and out. And that's okay. I think I wouldn't worry too much about her. She's a freshman. She's still trying to figure out how to play at this collegiate level. She's probably trying to do everything her coach is asking of her. She played very in control. I would actually like to see her a little bit out of control, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
A little bit more spontaneous, off the dribble, attacking the basket more. I don't want to say abandoning the play, but she seems like a player that is really, right now, early in her career, who is really trying to execute the offense that the coach has laid in front of her, instead of maybe improvising every now and then, because she has handles. You can tell she's holding back. I guess that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I think it's hard for a freshman to come in, and I mean, you're still trying to figure some things out, and then you have some vets that you have to respect. You don't want to come in this early in the season in particular and be too ball dominant.
Yeah.
She was hard. I felt like she was hard to defend. I don't think the UCLA matchup. I mean, Kiki was on her for a minute, and I don't think Kiki Rice. I don't think UCLA matched up well with her because she really worked them when she was handling the ball to get the ball down the court and then get the ball in play. So I feel like as time goes on, she'll recognize her spot to take over.
Yeah. And that's what I was saying. It's very early in her career. She's still filling things out, filling out the system, and she's playing within the system. And once she gets comfortable and or the green light from whoever, I think we'll see a different player towards the end of the season. She'll turn up more because I can see she's like holding back a little bit because she had some great dribbles. Like I said, great shots. But they just weren't falling. And obviously she needs to work on her defense. That's just, what it is. But I enjoyed watching her play. I was excited to see her. And I think you can see she's got a bag that she's just like, when I get this bag right, look out. But yeah, she did struggle. Like, I'm not going to sit here in front. She did struggle. But again, as a freshman, we don't really, and in the second week of her collegiate career, we're not pushing the panic button on her.
No,
she's got plenty of time to develop herself.
Yeah, I mean, they look good. Oklahoma looked good. They just ran up against a bigger team, and they had too many turnovers. And the free throw, their free throw line, their free throw percentage is just. It was horrific. And so you tighten up those things, and this score is almost, a 1 point. There should be almost a 1 point difference between the winner and the loser, in the end. Just tighten up, not to 100%, but the free throws, get that together and reduce your turnovers. You could have won this game.
Turnovers are a big story for this team because last night they had 16 and UCLA scored 16 off the turnovers. In their first game, their season opener, even though they won 84-67, they had 18 turnovers in that game.
Wow.
So, I mean, obviously, like they've got a new point guard in Aaliyah, very young, still figuring things out. I feel like maybe that's going to be the story of their season is figuring it out, getting, like you said, a rhythm between all of them. Because it just felt like they've got some good pieces. Obviously, they got a dog in Beers, but they got to figure out how to now put it all together.
Yeah.
I will say before we move, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was going to say their free throw percentage actually improved a little bit before the end of the game to 60%. Okay. Because before we looked at it, like it was at 54%, but it actually improved to 60. Still not a good number, by the way. Still not a good number.
And as we talk about Raegan Beers, get ready to talk about her, it's not funny. But at one point, she got injured. She was on the ground for a minute. And she looked like she was in pain. And the coach was like, get up. Get up. That coach was not using a timeout on her. Like, you better get up.
And it was an aggressive get up. She actually stepped onto the floor, put her body at an angle and said, get up.
I'm not playing this game with you, girl. Get up. And I was like, oh my God. And then head coach Jenny, I can't pronounce her last name. I'm not going to try. But eventually, she gets up and then they take her on the sideline because I think now they can make a substitution. But I'm sorry. That was so funny. It was just like, girl, you better get up. Shout out to the coaches that aren't babying the players. Appreciate you for that. It was comedy.
I mean, both coaches were intense. They were intense last night.
Intense. It was a lot of yelling on the sideline. I'm calling the UCLA coach Baby Cheryl Reeves because that's what she reminds me of.
Mannerism and everything.
And all. She's just like arguing with the refs in the same way that Cheryl would. I mean, I bet she makes Cheryl proud. Cheryl's probably like, period. Absolutely. That's my girl. Her name's Corey Close, by the way. Coach Corey Close.
Coach Close.
Reagan Beers, the veteran presence. She's ranked number 13 in the country. 7 points, 14 rebounds. She worked hard inside against Lauren Betts. It was physical. But again, she didn't have to be that physical. I think her rebounding's great because you're against a 6'7" player and we're able to grab 14 rebounds. Again, that speaks more to Bet's inefficiency, which we'll get into. The 7 points, yeah, that's not good because it's 7 points. And you can say, oh, well, I have a 6'7" person on me. But the person on you, I mean, you got to create your shots the best way you can. And they can't always come right underneath the basket. That's just something they got to work on.
Yeah.
But that goes with the whole of the team, right? That's the story of every player on Oklahoma. They got to work on getting their shots. But what I wanted to say was, I think she's got to remember, or the coach has to remember, when you're on Lauren Betts and you want to prevent from getting in foul trouble, the way you guard her, you stand behind her. She does not have a post move. She needs the ball at an angle to the basket to be successful.
Yeah.
She'll try a post move every now and then. Every now and then she's successful, even though I think it's a travel. I think you would agree.
Yeah.
But I think Raegan got in trouble because she focused too much on trying to be physical with Lauren Betts. And to your point, at one point, they weren't even passing it to her.
No,
they weren't even looking at her.
No. Well, and again, this gets back to, game time preparation on the Oklahoma side. First mistake, you let Lauren get to a spot that she wanted to get to for whatever the entry pass was going to be. Okay.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Beers is big enough to push her off that spot. And a couple times she did.
Yeah.
So next time they play them, I'm hoping that we'll see a change in how they defend her. Like you said, don't need to necessarily front her, because if you front her, she's 6'7", they're just going to toss it over your head. But because she doesn't have a drop step, she doesn't have another legit post move in her bag, get behind her, push her off her spot, make her, until she makes that shot, make her work to get into that shot.
Yeah.
Once she starts making it, then maybe you confront her or double her. And even when the ball went into her, we saw the ball go into her last night a couple times, Betts managed to just miss bunnies. She missed bunnies. And I don't know if she was uncomfortable once she turned around and faced the basket, but she missed several bunnies. Yeah. So it was interesting watching. It was interesting watching Beers, eventually get to a place where you got her by yourself now. They stopped double teaming, but by then it was too late. It was too late in the game.
Yeah, and offensively, same story. She worked very hard, got very little return on the hard work she was doing, but she had some great moments where she put a body on somebody inside, maybe go to the line and get some free throws. I just think with bigs, much like Lauren Betts and, with Beers, you also need a guard that can get you the ball.
Yeah.
And I didn't see either team have any good entry passes into their bigs.
Yeah, yeah.
That was part of the issue, the rhythm issue. Now UCLA adjusts because they got outside shooters. They can go perimeter. Yeah. It's not a big deal for them if they can't get Lauren Betts the ball. It's not a tragedy. It looks like on Oklahoma, if they can't get Beers the ball, everything is crumbling. The system is not working.
That's true.
Go ahead.
And really, I'll be honest, it looked like towards the end of the second quarter, no one had an interest in getting the bigs the ball. Mm-hmm. I saw the guards at one point, particularly Kiki, come down. She looked right at Lauren, and she was wide open, didn't pass her the ball. And Lauren was frustrated with that. I saw Lauren put her hands on her hips, like, what's going on here? So your guards decided, they made a business decision that we're not passing the ball into you or trying to get you in position because that's not working right now.
Yeah, you're traveling.
On both sides, Oklahoma and UCLA.
Right. Lauren Betts, you're traveling, you're turning the ball over. These guys behind us said something really good that I like. It was Lauren Betts has an advantage, but the advantage is up here above her head, not down here at her chest. Right. So what Lauren Betts does sometimes when she's attempting some type of move, I don't know, she catches the ball up top, might catch it up top. Instead of keeping it high, she brings it down at her chest, which is at the same level of her defender. And now we have a jump ball or out of bounds or turnover.
Yep.
What's interesting, and before we go into Lauren Betts, because I feel like that's where we're going really quickly, just a shout out to Gianna Napkins. She led all scorers with 20 points.
Yep.
She was balling last night. But back to Lauren Betts. Again, you have great size, great length. You don't know what to do with it. And my interest in her this year was, she was ranked number 2 by ESPN in the country. And also, I saw her play last, obviously last in the tournament, and she had a traveling problem. So I'm like, okay, you've opted to play another year at UCLA before you enter the draft. Surely we're working on something. The fact that in this game, you can really see that nothing has improved. And in fact, we might have regressed a little bit. It was shocking to me. I was shocked at how she really didn't impact the game. And she struggled, to put it lightly. Like, I don't want to say she's trash or anything like that. We're going to be kind and say, well, let's just say you struggled. But the struggle looked like there was a lot of things you just simply can't do.
Yeah. I old school, right? I'm used to bigs particularly when you're bigger than everybody else out there. You post up down low. It's a simple turn to the basket. Get on your tippy toes. In her case, 6'7", and 6'7", and get in the tippy toes and just get it in. She couldn't do that.
Yeah,
she couldn't do that. The other thing is, if you're not getting, she never demanded the ball.
Right.
If the play is not being ran and the ball's not coming into you, you're the star of that team captain, you post up and you demand it. Even when you go to the sidelines, you tell them in the huddle, I want the ball. I'm not down. I didn't see that kind of leadership coming from her.
Yeah.
And oftentimes I didn't see her trying to create and make her own shot either. So there's some gaps here. There's some gaps. Now, I'm willing to say, at 6'7", she's a big body. I think she can still be an asset, obviously, because she blocks shots. But for her to be number 2, and for her to be, quote unquote, supposedly projected to be dominant, I didn't see any of that.
Yeah, I don't think she's the number 2 player in the country, which proved last night. You're not better than Hannah Hidalgo. You're not better than Azzi Fudd. You're not better than Flaudry. I mean, we can pick and choose people. Luckily, that ranking had Sarah from UConn. Sarah Strong from UConn at the top. They aren't completely nuts, but she's not. She has so much work she needs to do. Yeah, to your point, you had 4 blocks. You're 6'7". There's some people crazy enough to at least think they can shoot over you. You can just make a tree and block. I'm not impressed by the 4 blocks. I think she was very unimpressive during this game. To have only 9 points in a spotlight game, in a ranked game, is against a number 6 team, against another player who's like 3 inches shorter than you. It just was such an unimpressive performance. And it's not a performance of, okay, you just had a bad game. Much like if I go back to Aaliyah Chavez, I can see you have a bag. I can see what tools you have. You just need to put them all together and develop. With Lauren, I honestly didn't see anything promising. I can't see anything that says, oh, you will be ready for the WNBA if you just tweak this one thing. I'm even questioning your success rate in the WNBA. You're definitely not a first number 1 pick. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
You are not a number 1 pick. Unless a team desperately needs size, you're not number 1 pick. Let's just get that clear.
I struggled and still struggle with finding something I could point to as being truly outstanding that she did well last night.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find anything. She's 6'7". She did what a 6'7" person should do, and that is you block a few shots, you grab rebounds, and she had 10 of those. But in terms of and most of those rebounds, right place, right time, obviously.
Rebounds.
Yeah. She didn't just jump in there, get into the thick of things, and snatch the ball out of the air and that good stuff. But I struggled to find something I can say, oh yeah, she's going to be it. And I looked hard because she was the number 2 ranked person,
Right.
so or player, and I just couldn't find it. Now we'll see some more of UCLA, and maybe it comes out then. But this should have been a statement game for her, playing a ranked team. You're away from Southern California. It's on Fox Sport 1. It's being televised. I just thought, she'd show better.
Yeah, I think you said it perfectly. It was a really poor showing. And I'm just going to say, because they won, I don't think she cares.
I got that feeling as well.
Yeah, I don't think she thinks there's a problem. Yeah. And I almost dare to say I don't think anyone at UCLA thinks there's a problem. Maybe they're just so used to this and their focus is on winning and not really her individual performance that they're like, well, we'll take it.
Yeah, no, I don't think I don't think the coach even was concerned.
Yeah. And it's interesting that I don't know, maybe she has, maybe she hasn't, but it's interesting that she hasn't improved because it's like, don't you have, I'm going to call it a big man coach. Sorry. I'm using that as gender neutral. Isn't there a big man coach you can link up with? I mean, I feel like UCLA has a lot of great alumni that can come and help you, someone you can reach out to.
Yep.
When I was in high school many moons ago, I had a friend who he played basketball, and he would go to this thing called Big Man Camp. And it was a camp just for big men. And like Andrew Bynum was like there. That tells you how old I am. But my point is there's usually a good focal point, a real targeted training for big men.
Yeah.
And the footwork. No. Yeah. Obviously, I can use Asia Wilson, but that's the GOAT status. But I'm just saying, if you look at her and how she works in the off season, she comes back with a new move. I feel like every season.
Yeah.
She puts another tool in the bag. Camila Cardoso is probably the best person we can compare Lauren to because of the height. But if you watch Camila in college, she was very versatile.
Yeah.
Dawn was not letting her just be a presence in the key. Camila had to work up and unders, rebounds, get free, make your free throws. She had some post moves, but she was active. I guess that's what I'm saying. She was active.
Very active.
Now, even her, as great as she was in college, she's struggling in the WNBA. Obviously, she's on the Chicago Sky. That's a struggle in itself. But
and lacking a point guard.
And lacking a point guard again, getting the ball. But even she's experiencing struggles, and she's a great player. I can't see Lauren Betts in the WNBA, first of all, but I can't see her, I don't want to say being successful, but I just can't see how she will adjust to WNBA play if she's struggling this much still at the end of your collegiate career.
I can see her in the WNBA because one, the old adage, you can't coach height. She may not be a starter in the WNBA when she first comes out, but I can see her. They're not going to let a 6'7" player who's spent 4 years at UCLA, not go undrafted. So let me clarify. I can't see, when I say I can't see her, I just don't see how you're playing in the WNBA. That's different. That's different. Because she definitely will go to the WNBA. That's for sure. She may not start because of the work she's going to have to put in to break into a starting lineup. So I think that part is definitely going to happen for her where, she may have to spend, I don't know, her first season coming off the bench, not six man, but coming off the bench at some point during the game to get that game time experience.
Yeah. She's just got so much to work. I think a player she should watch, obviously Camila Cardoso, but I just don't ever see her being a Camila Cardoso type player because Camila came up under Dawn, and Camila's got that dog in her, and it's different. It's different. But she should watch Leary.
Yeah.
Leary 6'7", and I think Leary let me actually put it this way. Lauren could fashion her game after Leary right now while you're trying to figure out how to play at a WNBA caliber
She could.
Because Leary doesn't do anything flashy. I think Leary is very fundamentally sound. And she's developed a 3-point shot.
Yeah.
She's figured out how to be 6'7", Remember, if you remember the WNBA last season, Dallas wanted her to figure out how to be more aggressive and be more physical because that's not her game.
Right.
And I don't think that's Lauren Bett's game either.
Yeah, it didn't seem like it last night. Not that she shied away from contact. She didn't like contact.
Yeah. It was,
but she didn't shy away from it. I'll give her credit for that.
She didn't shy away, but she complained a lot about it.
Yeah, she did, but she didn't shy away from it.
Yeah.
So I give her credit for that.
But at the same time, she's not being physical on offense, is what I mean.
No,
like,
she's not. No.
She's not physical, and I don't think Leah is either, and that's what she's got to work on. But I do think Leah is efficient, impactful, effective.
Absolutely.
And that might be a player that Lauren needs to watch. Like, okay, if I'm going to the league, how can I still play my style of basketball, but be impactful to where a coach, to your point, will actually want to play me instead of just using me for rest time and, I have 5 fouls.
Yeah. And she may have to, and I know this is early. Lauren may have to understand maybe later, in the season when we're about to get to the end of the season and draft time is coming, that maybe my first season in the WNBA, I'm a role player, for the most part. But I just don't know how you go the whole off season and not develop, a go-to move in the post. And you're 6'7". You got to have a go. You make them block your shot. You don't. You have this go-to move, and I don't know how that doesn't happen, particularly in a program like UCLA. I just don't know how that happens.
And I don't know how you go through the whole offseason and not address her traveling problem.
I think that's part of that whole go-to move thing too, by the way.
Yeah.
She struggles to find a move, so she shuffles her feet. Or maybe there's a bit of a panic button she presses when she doesn't know what to do, instead of just passing it out. So sometimes, they teach the big men, you can pass out to reset. Like that's part of you can, and she doesn't do that. She panics and tries to make a move, shuffles the feet, travel. It's like someone should be telling her, if you don't have anything, pass it out, reset, and we'll get it back to you. Now, I think they need to work on their entry passes as well. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, she needs to learn how to adjust and be flexible in her game and not be so dedicated to whatever's in her head when she catches the ball. You can reset. You don't have to if you don't like what the defense is giving you, swing it back around and say, "Hey, I need a reset." Okay, now and also too, that's a coaching thing. That's a coaching thing. You tell her if it's not there for you or you're being triple teamed, pass it out, but don't bring the ball down. Okay, because her reset is bringing the ball down to her waistline, shuffling her feet, and then going back up. You don't need to do that. Pass it out. You have no reason to bring the ball down just to get it back up to pass it out or attempt a shot. To me, that's coaching. But where she is in her collegiate career, that should have all been worked out by now.
Sophomore year, we should have been talking about this.
Yeah, that should have all been working. We shouldn't even be having this conversation about you traveling on the block, in the post. There's no 6'7". You turn, you spin, you flail your hips around and move people out of the way and go straight up. That's missing.
That's missing. And another thing from a coaching perspective missing, she doesn't set many screens. Like there was no pick and rolls. There was nothing. There's no back screens where you can, you guys know what a back screen is. Screen and then
yeah. And
sorry, I'm like trying to act it out. But she also doesn't set a lot of screens, and that also too would help get her open. Maybe if she's on a double team, make the defenders choose who to guard. But again, that's what I'm talking about with not really being active down there. She's just down there and then tries to catch the ball, and it's kind of like when like you said, at this stage in your college career, these things should be second nature.
Yeah.
You should have done it so much that you're like, you know what? I'm going to get active. I'm going to go set a screen. I'm going to, get the rebound, whatever. But it just seems like there's a lot of things not developed. I mean, I feel like we're talking in circles because, it is what it is. But that's the overall arching point we're making, right?
And
She's not developed.
And I don't want to make it seem like, this is just, dumping on her. But, unfortunately, the team, the media, have set this up where she's number two. So with that comes an expectation that we see
Yes,
number two level play.
exactly. That's
We
exactly
see
right.
number two level play. You almost, would think if you're number two that you're box office. In other words, people
Thank you.
coming to see you,
Yeah.
right? I know I came to see her last night. I wanted to see the real deal, what was going on in person because you're number two. And when people show up and see a performance like that, I'm beginning to almost think that that's her standard typical game. So it really not like she had a bad game. That was her game.
Right.
That's what I'm feeling. That
Exactly.
wasn't a bad game for her.
That's how I feel too.
That was my game. This is my game. Other people have praised me for this game. Well, they probably shouldn't be doing all that. But I don't think she had a bad game. I think that was just her game.
Yeah. And listen, you're absolutely right about why she's under such a microscope right now. It's because of her ranking.
Yeah.
Raegan Beers, listen, Raegan Beers played hard, but she was no better than Lauren Betts. She just played harder, and she seemed to have more. I don't want to say more in her bag, but she just played harder, and you can just tell that if she was playing someone her height, it might have been a different story.
It would have been a very different story
for Lauren, but Lauren Betts is also ranked number 13. Like, we're not really looking at her to be.
No, not Lauren Betts is ranked 13.
Excuse me, sorry. Raegan Beers is ranked
Beers.
13. We're not really looking for her to have this extraordinary, like you said, box office performance. If Lauren Betts was ranked 13, we wouldn't even be having this conversation.
At all. At all.
We wouldn't be having this conversation. And it's like, well, now we're here, and ESPN told us she's number 2. There's people telling us she's the first pick in the 2026 draft, and that game to me debunked all that, or exposed. That's another word you like to use, kind of exposed her in certain ways.
It did expose her, but I will say this though again, and I have to go back to this consistently, because she's 6'7". Because she's 6'7", there are going to be teams in that top, I don't know, 10, top 20 that she is going to have these outstanding nights.
Yeah.
Because that kind of height is not, it's not prevalent in that top group.
Yeah.
I just think that the exposure or the way she got exposed last night, was that her game is her game, and unfortunately, it doesn't yield enough to say that I can consistently night in, night out have double-digit scoring, double-digit rebounds, double-digit blocks. I'm not the Wemby of UCLA. I'm not going to do all of that because fundamentally she's missing some pieces.
And let me just say this, another one of your phrases. And let me just say this.
Yeah.
Those blocks, the 4 blocks or the whatever she's getting per night, she's not getting those in the WNBA. You're blocking, again, this is what Diana Taurasi's point was with Caitlin Clark. You're playing against players who are not going to the WNBA.
Not going.
You're not playing against WNBA caliber players. They don't even have the size of a W. You think you're going to do that to Alyssa Thomas just as an example? Like, that's another thing. Yeah, these are great blocks over here in college, but you're not doing that over here. Not doing it. Now, obviously, you're 6'7", you will get some blocks. I'm not trying to play her out. But it's deeper than blocks. We got to go deeper than the blocks and the rebounds. We need some offense. You need some offense. You need to be all-around player, play both sides of the ball at your height and size to be successful, even mildly successful in the WNBA.
Well, in WNBA, they're not going to double her. They're not going to wait. They're not going to use 2 players to double her in the post.
Right.
That is not going to happen. You're going to have to find your shot. You're going to have to go get the ball yourself in some cases and create your own shot off a rebound, a kick out, reset, like you pointed out. But it's a totally different game in the W. I don't know if she gets that education, this season, or just like I said, or she gets to the W and she has to wait a season and get the WNBA training with the WNBA.
Yeah. Exactly. I was just reading some tweets and said it's not that just Lauren Betts struggled is that she struggled with all the things her detractors been talking about every day. So to your point, it's not that you had a bad game. You were struggling everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, her game is her game. You know,
that's exactly how I feel. Oh, it's just a stinker. It's just one game. Girl, I feel like this is it. Like, we've been watching this for a while now. It's not getting better. It is not getting better. Like, the theme of her game is traveling, and then everything else after that. A traveling, a turnover. Whoo. Ciao. Yeah. There's something you said before we close about 6'7". I forgot to tell you all. There was a 6'7" cam at the game. They wanted to make it a robot cam. Well, kids these days don't do the robot.
They don't do the robot.
All they want to do is 6'7". So they turned it into a 6'7" cam, and every person under the age of 20 was doing 6'7". 6'7", 6'7". I mean, it was insane. It was, and it went on forever.
Forever. I didn't think it was ever going to end.
Bless the elderly men behind us that had no idea what was going on. They were like, "What is 6'7"?" I think they were even a little scared.
Yeah.
They seemed a little uneasy. Like, what is 6'7"? So to wrap this up, it was a great game.
Yeah.
Despite the score, like we said, Oklahoma stayed in it probably because of their rebounds and probably because Lauren Betts stunk up the gym. I feel good for Oklahoma and their season still. I think they'll still do great. I feel good about UCLA's season, despite the Lauren Betts of it all. They've got some great scorers over there, some great shooters, and they play very well together.
They have a great team. They do have a great team.
They love pace and they love tempo, and I think they're fun to watch. Both teams were fun to watch, but I think they just, it's week 2. It's week 2. Everyone will get the kinks out. This is, like I said, a great point in the season to see where everyone is. I think this is despite our critiques and feedback, it's a great game for Lauren Betts. It's a great game that says, just in case you were drinking your own Kool-Aid, just in case you were believing the hype, your own hype, like you said, Daddy, from the media and whomever, don't.
And I think her coach may have hinted and said some of that in some of those timeouts.
Oh.
Because the coach was very directive, with Lauren. She look, I need you here. I need you there. Yeah. So I think the coach recognizes you could do a lot better. Yeah.
Because while UCLA won, the story was more so about Lauren Betts and what she still has to prove. And, Aaliyah Chavez of it all. And her bit of a slow start here. But again, we say all this with love.
Yeah. Well, it's looking like there's some exciting freshmen that need our attention this season. Mm-hmm. Jazzy at SC, and now we add Chavez to the list of freshmen we need to watch.
Right. And so as we gear up for another great week of basketball, we have UCLA plays UNC also this week. And that's a number 11 team. Michigan, who's number 14, plays number 18 Notre Dame. South Carolina, who's number 2, plays USC, number 8. Two of our faves. Yeah. And then you have NC State, who's number 10, plays TCU, who's 17. So, and once again, no LSU, because Kim Mulkey is playing the Latter-day Saints Community College women's basketball team.
I don't know how she gets away with that.
I'm just joking. But I'm just joking with her, that school. I made that up. But she's not. There's no ranked. She doesn't have a ranked.
She's not playing a ranked team. She's not playing a ranked team. No, she's
exactly.
Not. No.
Once again, LSU will be on vacation this week and just scrimmaging and playing games for confidence and conditioning. But we got some good basketball this week, and I'm very excited for all that.
Great basketball this week.
But thank you so much for listening. As always, our regular episodes air every Monday. No time, just Monday. It will be up on a Monday. Sometime on Monday, and tune into our episode. We'll be reviewing some of these great games. We'll be talking about how it is breaking news. Alyssa Thompson has now joined Project B, so we'll be digging into that. And we'll we'll touch lightly on this game again, but this is our coverage. Once again, thank you for listening. We were excited to attend that game. If you are here via our cards that we passed out at the game, hello.
Last night we dropped them.
We dropped them, whereas my dad, unfortunately, has been calling them droppings. He was not a marketing major.
I was not. No.
I do not agree with calling our cards droppings, but we will work on that. Other than that, thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed this, and we'll talk to you later. See you guys.
Bye, guys.